Hi, brothers and sisters. I wanted to talk about tearing down the altars of the enemy. The enemy has come into our lives, says things to us, causes chaos and confusion, comes in to steal and destroy. And I am definitely understanding some things that are still left unresolved within myself that I'm dealing with. Now, what I just mentioned can apply in so many different ways, big or small, but it's still there if the enemy is allowed to come in and trigger us. We're not supposed to have contact with the enemy. We're not supposed to listen to the enemy. We're not supposed to allow what the enemy says to linger. And if we do that, we create this altar where he can continue to keep coming in and continuing to add chaos and confusion to our life. And so I've been diligently spending time with God, allowing him to pour into me, help prepare me for what's next in my life. And it's crazy. Last week, someone had mispronounced my name, and I corrected them, but I could tell that I was already agitated and upset. And I didn't realize that I was coming off that way because they mispronounced my name. And then so a couple of days later, it happened again with the conversation I was having with this person. And they were even jokingly saying it incorrectly, and it infuriated me. And as I'm talking about it, it's still kind of frustrating. And so I know that that's something that I allowed the enemy to literally run with. I allowed an altar to be built and allowed him to keep coming in. And whenever that comes up, it's a trigger for me. And we're not supposed to listen to that. God doesn't want us to listen to anyone else's voice but his. And so it makes it so easy for the enemy to come in and disrupt things. When God has already spoken something over your life, he is telling the truth. God does not lie. And so then when it doesn't happen, when you think it's supposed to happen, here comes the enemy. Well, God wasn't going to do that. Why did you believe that? You don't deserve that. That's not for you. And it messes up things. Then you start speaking it. You start speaking, God's not going to do it for me. This is not going to happen. You're projecting that. You're feeding into that altar. And so the enemy is like, this is perfect. Now they have doubt. Now they have confusion. Then it makes it difficult for God to do his part because you're not believing him. And so back to the name part, I didn't realize that this was an altar for me. This was a trigger for me, because when someone mispronounced my name and I correct them, it's like, it's aggravating, because I've said my name is Casondra. And when they respond, Cassandra, I'm just looking at them like, are you for real? Or when I write my name, Casondra, and they change it to Cassandra or Casandra, or they decide instead of calling me Cassandra, it's Cass or Cassie. I'm just infuriated. And so I finally realized yesterday, I said, God, I need you to address this, because I don't want to come off negative when someone mispronounced my name. And so I started to understand that this was an altar that I allowed the enemy to have access to for a long time. Started from elementary school. I remember my teachers would say my name wrong and I would correct them, and they would still say my name wrong. And I was going through a lot in that period. I was in private school. I was only child of color in my classroom. And I was already being bullied, already being nitpicked, and there was just something about, can you just please get my name right? At the very least, can you just do that? And it wouldn't happen. And so I realize now that that's what I've held on to. Even as I became a teenager and gotten older, I was on my part-time job, and I remember this woman who didn't like me, kept pronouncing my name wrong, and I keep correcting her. And so this just continued to follow me. Every time it comes up, I allow the enemy to come in and attack me and beat me down and allow me to get angry. And I don't like that. I don't want that. That is not my life. And I don't want him to have access to me in that way. Now, this could be really minor to somebody else, but for me, it's not. And we are all individuals. We all have different things that bother us, that provoke us, that trigger us. And so it's important for us to address it. And so I had scripture I wanted to refer to for John 10:27. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. I'm following God now. I was so wrapped up in listening to everyone else's voice. I know who I am. I know that my name is Casondra. I know how it's spelled. I know who God told me I am. I don't need to hold on to and getting upset about people mispronouncing my name. That's not necessary. I need to listen to God, let this go, and break down this altar. It says, John 10:5, they won't follow a stranger. They will run from him because they don't know his voice. Stop allowing the enemy to come in and tell you things that aren't true, or build up things that aren't necessary. It will continue to add to that altar that's already there. The enemy doesn't deserve access to your life. The enemy would prefer for you to stay right where you're at. And I'm telling you right now, thank you, Holy Spirit. If I had kept listening to the enemy, I'd still be involved with my children's father, angry, upset, hurt, being cheated on, being sick, being miserable. I'm glad that I started to listen to God's voice, but for a long time, I listened to the enemy's voice. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not pretty. You're fat. No one's going to love you. No one's going to respect you. You don't even love yourself. Just making me feel worse and worse about myself. No one wants to hear what you have to say. People are talking about you. This one said this. This one said that. They think this. They think that. This one's in your business. Allowing this world to consume my mind. And it will drain you. It will drain you. And he loves to keep you there. I can remember times of crying and just being hurt. And God, why is this happening? Why can't I leave this situation? Why can't I move on from the past? Why can't I let things go? And God finally said, come with me, follow me. I will help you. I will heal your heart. I will heal your mind. And he has done that. He has definitely healed my heart. But in my mind, there's still things that are still there that need to be addressed. And it takes time because we've conditioned ourselves as children all the way up to where we're at right now. And so I'm thankful that this came up. I'm thankful that it's something that I need to address. I'm thankful that God's going to help me with it, because I don't want to come off mean or agitated or frustrated. And I don't want the enemy to have access to me anymore. So I decreed and declared that altar is broken, that access, that gateway is closed. And that's the same thing that you have to do. You have to let the enemy know, no, I'm not listening to you. I'm not following you. I'm not going to just get up and do what you say. So I pray that this blesses someone. And also on the other side, I pray that you stand your ground on things that you believe in, that you think are important in your life. I had a conversation with someone about 2 weeks ago. They messaged me and wanted me to participate in something. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I said, I don't believe in that. God has me doing something else, and I'm trusting in God. I cannot follow man. And so we had a healthy conversation about it. And I just said, I cannot follow man. I don't know where this stems from. I don't know how this was created. But God didn't create that. God didn't tell me to follow this. And later on, as days went on, I noticed that there was some confusion about that particular situation that this person wanted me to be involved in. So when I say I want you to if you have something that you believe in it and stick to it, and don't allow anyone to sway you. The enemy will try to get you to veer away from your beliefs, and what you know is right and what you know God has told you. It's important, because if we go by this world, we'll get so caught up in what's going on in this world, we will not hear God's voice. We won't hear it. And it's important for you to hear it, because he knows your beginning and your ending. He knows everything about you. He knows where he's trying to bring you. And if you're trying to go somewhere with God, you got to listen to him, not this world. Definitely not the enemy, because the enemy does not want you to get to where God's trying to take you. So I pray that what I shared blesses someone. I pray that it allows you to address things that come up that affect you in a negative way, or cause you to react in a negative way, because God is definitely trying to do a new thing in your life. And when you want to be with him, you want to have peace. You want to address things that need to be addressed. Nobody is perfect. Of course, I left and felt convicted afterwards, but that's what the enemy wanted. The enemy wanted me to feel convicted, that I became agitated because these people mispronounced my name. That was the goal, and he succeeded. And I said to myself, I can't have this. No, I can't have that. That's not going to work. And so that's where my understanding came in, that, this is an altar that the enemy had access to, and you have to break it down. You cannot allow him to come in and disrupt your life, agitate you, trigger you, and you can't stay in it. You have to let it go. When the enemy comes in and tries to tell you something, and it's the enemy, decree and declare that you are a liar, and I'm not listening to you, and move on from that. I think that sums it up. I need to work on that.